Hey guys, welcome to a Unreal Engine tutorial. So in this video I'm going to go over an example of how you can use inheritance to make the same different objects have the same behaviors, and I'm going to go into using this third person template. So if you follow my coin tutorial series, you will have already maybe recreated some of the coins and the door, but what I was thinking of doing is I wanted to add a platform to it, but then it got me thinking. A platform can move and some platforms can rotate. However, looking at my scene, I've actually got 2 coins, or 4 coins rather, and a power up on. And if you hit play, they're a bit static, they don't do anything, they're not very exciting, they look like static meshes. So I figured, well, I can go into the coin actor, I can add a rotating movement component to it, or I could add a interpretive movement component to this and make it spin. But I felt that I was repeating work. So what I've got to do is I've created a base actor, I've added a rotating movement and an interpretive movement component, and inside the construction script I've just added a little bit of logic because for some reason in Unreal Engine 4.26 the control points aren't visible. So what I've done is I've created a variable, plugged it into a for each loop, and then I've created some interpretive control points and then added them back in. And at the start, that gets cleared so that it always resets based on the new list. So I'm just going to drag my base actor in. I'm going to set the static mesh to be a 1 meter cube, so I've got my platform. And if I look at my interpretive move component, there's nothing there, but the rotating movement is set to 180. I just want to stop that. Hit play, and as you can see we've got a static moving platform. However, if I change the rotating movement to 180, hit play now, you now see that we've got a spinning platform. So you might be thinking, well, that's great, Anne, so you can make a platform spin. What's that got to do with inheritance? Well, I'm going to demo this now by using the coin pickup. So BP coin has a collision sphere, a third-person cast a third-person character, and it has an event dispatcher that basically says when it's picked up, and it destroys the actor. Well, I want to get the rotating and the movement components to be on this, so what I need to do is go to class settings, go to parent class, go to BP base actor, hit compile. And as you can see, it now has a static mesh. So I've actually now inherited a static mesh and I've got this on this object. Well, I don't need the static mesh anymore, I can delete that. However, the mesh is gone. So if I type in cylinder, have a search for the material I was using. So there was one I'd found, so let's see if I can see it again. Oh, there we go, cube material, that'll do. Now, if I look at my coins, obviously all the scaling's wrong, so I'm going to have to fix that. So what I can do is go back into the coin, static mesh, and I can change all these to be to 1. Go into the viewports, and as you can see, they're back to normal size. However, the scale of that's wrong now, so I just need to improve the radius so this bit overlaps more. We'll set that to 75. So as you can see here, it's inherited the rotating movement, the static mesh, and the interpretive movement component. So let's hit play and see what happens. So, as you can see, the coins are now spinning. So all I've done is change the parent actor from actor to BP base actor. That inherits the rotating movement component and the interpretive movement component, and also the static mesh. So okay then, so well I'm using the rotating movement component. What about if I want to use it for something else with different behavior? Well, we can. If you open up the speed power up components, you'll see that that's got its own collision. But again, we can do the same thing with this. We can go to class settings, go to actor, go to BP base actor, compile, and then all we need to do is change the settings. So I'm just going to copy the scale, paste it onto this, and I'm just going to set this inherited one to be a 1 meter cube, and then the shiny emissive material, I can just grab that, set it, and I can just delete this static mesh. As I say, it already inherited one, so it doesn't need it. So check that it's still got its overlap. It has a collision. So let's give that a test. So now you can see we've got spinning coins, a spinning platform, and a spinning power up that gives you double speed boost. And as you can see, when you walk over it, it makes you twice as fast. So just to wrap this video up, basically using inheritance is a very good way of recreating similar behaviours over different actors. Although they might function differently and they might have different representations, you're not actually creating double the work. So to give an example of how I would change this, well, say if I wanted this platform to move and not spin. It has the movement components, so all I need to do is go to my rotator, set that to 0, go on to my interp2 movement component, add some control points, or because I've added the functionality in the base actor, add a control point there, grab the control point, move it to where I want to go, add another control point, set that to be there, and just for demo purposes, let's set that control point to be minus 330 there, 430, beg your pardon. As you can see, it moves quite quickly, so a little bit too fast for my liking. Let's go to the interp2 movement component. Let's make that 10 seconds so we can see it better. Hit play. And there we have it. So, using that to just changing a few settings, we've now got a platform that moves and not spins. So, to quickly show that how useful that can be, let's make some copies of this platform. So select this. Make copies of it. And what we can do is we can mix it up a bit, but let's just change some of these. Let's invert these. So it's minus 430 to positive 430. And for this one, I'm going to change it up a bit. I'm going to add a new one. And I'm just going to set the Z value to 500. And what we can do is, we'll play from here so we can see it a bit better. There you go, so you've got 3 platforms moving completely different ways. So that brings us to the end of the video, so I hope you find that useful. It's always worth looking at inheritance whenever you can. It can save you a lot of repetition. So have a look at it, and if you want to use it or if you have any questions, please comment in the video in the comments below. Thank you for watching, guys.